There's a lot to get to this week, guys. I have a major bone to pick with the Louisville basketball fan base, so everything else can wait until next week. Let's get right to it, shall we? In the month of February, Louisville's core four became the group of Carlik Jones, David Johnson, Samuel Williamson, and Jalen Withers. Starter Dre Davis is a major defensive presence and a fearless offensive player. Quinn Slazinski is the consummate bench energy guy. And JJ Traynor just may be the most underrated player on this team. Look, guys, this is it. This is Louisville basketball, and right now nothing else matters. Not Chris Mack trash talking, not Gahan and Nickelberry and what their status is, not Malik Williams' injury, none of that. Because what Louisville has to work with right now, as it has been all season, is good enough to exceed expectations in March. The core pieces that Louisville has at its disposal are the same pieces that swept Duke. They're the same players that beat Virginia Tech. It's the same guys that survived Seton Hall, trounced WKU and Georgia Tech, all of whom are projected as NCAA tournament teams. Louisville currently has 13 wins, 7 of which are against teams that are likely to be in the big dance when things are said and done. The narrative this season has been, this is Louisville. We don't get excited about wins over unranked teams. We should expect to be a top 25 team and a top 3 seed every year. And I get that to an extent. Yes, as a borderline blue blood program, the expectations have to remain high. But look around you, my friends. Look at the fellow quote-unquote blue bloods of the world in 2021. Kentucky is a joke. Indiana is a Big Ten punching bag yet again. Kansas has been skirting the fringes of the top 25 all season. Duke is a bubble team. North Carolina is not too much better than Duke. Michigan State is battling for its NCAA tournament life. UCLA has been garbage for a decade. This year, Louisville isn't the exception. It's the rule. This year, Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan are running the college basketball world. Teams like Drake, Loyola, Arkansas, Colorado, Alabama, Creighton, Illinois, and Iowa are in the top 25, while the guys that have been in the Final Four in the last decade, they either suck or they're average at best. In Louisville's case, we talked about this last week, but the Cardinals have played 14 games in 90 days. They've had 2 multi-week COVID pauses, and almost a third of the Louisville schedule has either been moved or just outright canceled. Louisville's best returning player, best defender, and team captain Malik Williams missed nearly a full year due to injury. He came back last week, and he is already back on the IR for the rest of the season. Key graduate transfer Charles Mendel has been battling an injury bug and didn't even play the last game. 2 of Louisville's key bench pieces, Aiden Gahan and Josh Nickelberry, have battled injuries and illnesses for the better part of the last season. Louisville doesn't have a true center and barely has what you would qualify as a power forward. On top of all this, Louisville ate another 2 scholarships this season due to NCAA sanctions, and another decision by the IARP looms on the horizon. Last season, in only his second year, with a roster consisting mostly of players he didn't recruit, Chris Mack led Louisville to its first number 1 ranking since 2013, only to have a solid season and a chance at a deep NCAA tournament run pulled right out from underneath him.
Johns Jr. Michigan shooting it horribly here. Louisville on an 8-1.
In the offseason, Louisville lost 7 players. The Cardinals brought back an injured Malik Williams and a player in Samuel Williamson who had started all of 1 game his entire career. Yet people have the audacity to sit here and complain about this team. I'm having none of it. As a fan and as a supporter, it's okay to have high aspirations. However, part of being a fan is enjoying cheering on your team, watching the growth of coaches, players, and your program as a whole. Part of that, however, is getting through the tough times. I waited 22 years to see Louisville win a national title. Many waited longer than that. For those complaining about Chris Mack's quote-unquote boring style of play, I feel like many romanticize the Rick Pitino era. We can't look back at the previous era and compare everything to Peyton Siva and Russ Smith. We can't expect every season to be this magical run. During the 2012 Final Four season, Louisville lost on senior day to a crap bum South Florida team 58-51. They scored 49 that same week at Syracuse. In Rick Pitino's first 3 years, the Cards never got out of the first weekend. In fact, Louisville went to the NIT in 2 of Rick Pitino's first 5 seasons. They lost in the second round, then lost in the first round in 2 others. Imagine if Twitter was around then. The Cardinals lost in the first round in back-to-back seasons in 2010 and 2011. Things haven't been all sunshine and rainbows, and that was with one of the greatest coaches in college basketball history. All of this is to say this: if you're a Louisville basketball fan, be a Louisville basketball fan. Be crazy. Be passionate. Sure, we're all entitled to our own opinions, and we can give criticism when it's due. For the love of God, please have some perspective sometimes, Card Nation.